Hey folks, this is Kalani. Patch 11.2.5 goes live on October 7th and it introduces some fun new activities that really change things up, like the Legion Remix event, and we're going to see the return of the Turbo Boost event to kick your gearing up opportunities into overdrive. There are also some huge changes to the Cooldown Manager feature, there's a new social option to keep track of players you have recently interacted with, and the disc belt will also be much easier to replace. So let's go over everything coming in patch 11.2.5 and how it all works. Now before we jump in, be sure to hit that like button and subscribe so you never miss another video. The first thing that many players will be excited for in the new patch is the Legion Remix event. Legion Remix throws you into the Legion expansion with a few twists, so we'll be working through the story and zones as they appeared back when Legion first launched, but we'll also have some new bits and bobs thrown in as well. Things like the time-warped obelisks to give you various buffs while you're out in the world, and the heroic world tier which makes the open world significantly more difficult and more rewarding to work through, which is a really interesting idea to introduce to WoW in general. This could maybe be part of the answer to open world content getting left behind in future expansions, and Legion Remix is a fantastic testing environment for that. We also have the remixed artifact weapons with a special trait tree to work through. There are 5 lines or powers that you can focus in on, each with their own new active ability and a bunch of passives that augment it. So it'll be interesting playing around with what different options and powers work best for each class or specialization, and which of these powers and active abilities ends up being the best. Mythic Plus dungeons will be available as time-warped keystone dungeons with a few new affixes thrown in for good measure to keep things interesting, and there are new daily activities like the Infinite Research, which gives you even more options for powering up your character. Now, as you play through Legion Remix, you'll also be earning pretty powerful bonuses for your warband, including stacking bonus experience buffs, which should make leveling up any alts very quick indeed. I'm not sure if we'll get to the crazy levels that we saw in the Mists of Pandaria Remix event, but Legion Remix could be a great chance to level up any classes that you still don't have at max level. Your characters will also become very powerful, especially towards the end of the event, which will allow you to solo almost anything in Legion Remix. You should even be able to push Mythic plus 20 keys or higher all by yourself and clear the raids on the highest difficulties. So even if you don't usually enjoy dungeons or raids, you might find them a lot more enticing if you can clear through them easily by yourself. But perhaps the most exciting part about Legion Remix is the opportunity to pick up a whole mountain of rewards. There are some new things like awesome armor sets, key NPC themed transmogs, corrupted weapons, all sorts of really cool stuff, but then you can use this event to pick up almost any rare or retired reward from the Legion expansion as well, including things like the Violet Spellwing mount, the Scythe of the Unmaker, and even most artifact weapon appearances. Everyone is also going to get 5 extra character slots, so you don't have to worry about making space for these new time-running characters, and you can convert your time-running characters to normal characters at any point during the event. So if you level up a bunch of alts and want to play them right away in the War Within Season 3, you can just convert them over and get right into gearing up. The conversion is only one way though, so you will need to keep that in mind. Now, unlike the Mists of Pandaria Remix event, the Legion Remix event will unfold over multiple phases which follow the patch cycle of the original Legion expansion. We'll get a new phase every 2 weeks until November 18th, which is when the Argus content becomes available, and then on December 9th things will start getting a bit weird and chaotic as the event starts to wrap up. At this point we should also see some catch-up mechanics introduced, so if you're late to the party you should still be able to pick up a lot of rewards, as well as some new remix content and even new rewards thrown into the mix. This does mean that the overall content of Legion Remix is being spaced out quite a bit, which I'm sure many players aren't too happy about, but that does also ensure that you have enough time to get everything done in the Legion Remix event without totally ignoring retail or the other versions of the game. And that's just scratching the surface for the most part. We'll have dedicated videos going into far more detail about the Legion Remix event and everything you can do a bit closer to patch day. Now, it's not just a Legion remix being added in this patch, there's still plenty of updates for the main game coming through with patch 11.2.5 as well. To start with, the Turbo Boost event will be returning, which lets you gear up much faster and you can upgrade your gear even further so you can get your hands on even better gear when this event starts up. The Turbo Boost event is going to be split into two parts. So on patch day, Hero Track and Myth Track items will get 2 extra upgrades, allowing you to boost their item level by a good chunk, and will also be able to upgrade any Spark crafted gear by using an augmentation matrix, so the higher item levels will be available right away. A few weeks later, we'll see most of the other Turbo Boost changes. This includes being able to transfer Valor Stones between your Warbound characters, and the higher drop rates for Warbound until equipped gear from dungeons and raids. We'll also be able to directly buy powerful weapons, trinkets, and cantrip items from Season 3 dungeons and raid bosses on the Hero and Myth track. Each item will cost you a Puzzling Cartel chip, and we can earn up to 3 chips as the season progresses. In Season 2 we could get our first item right away, but the other 2 items took 3 weeks of weekly quest progression each, so if that holds true for Season 3 we'll be able to pick up 3 items across about 6 weeks of progress. The restrictions for purchasing Myth Track gear do still seem to be in place for Season 3, so you'll most likely have to clear every dungeon on a plus 12 key or above for the Myth Track dungeon gear, and you will need to kill a boss on Mythic difficulty before you can buy its specific loot on the vendor as well. That's not all though. The Delve vendor, who appears at the end of any tier 9 or above delve, will also start selling delve trinkets at item level 694, which puts them on the Hero Track too. So that will let you pick up any best in slot delve trinket at a higher item level, and you'll also be able to upgrade them much further as well. That's perfect for anyone who mainly focuses on solo player content, and it's going to make gearing up your ults so much easier too. Now, a curious new addition to the Turbo Boost event is the ability to loot extra ethereal void splinters in Mythic Plus dungeons from killing Manaforged Omega raid bosses, from delves, and from rated PvP. These void splinters are our Season 3 catalyst charges, so we'll be able to loot extra charges for the catalyst, which should help you ensure that you can convert any higher item level rewards that you happen to get. Maybe if you currently got champion tier gear and you loot a piece of hero or myth track gear, you should be able to fuel those upgrades in catalysts much easier, and it will also let you unlock Season 3 transmogs much faster and easier too. Now we're also going to see some significant updates to the Cooldown Manager feature, which really opens up what you can do with it, and it gets it a bit closer to a decent baseline weak auras replacement. In the gameplay enhancement settings, you'll find a new button called Advanced Cooldown Settings. When you click that, a new menu is going to pop up that lets you adjust what spells and abilities are included on your manager's bars and where you want them to appear. You can also change which buffs are being tracked and how you want to track them. So if you want major defensive to be included in the Essentials line, you can just shift things around as you see fit. If you don't want to track something specifically, you just drop it down into Not Displayed. So you can very quickly tailor this entire menu to your needs and wants without needing an add-on to track these kinds of spells and cooldowns. For the buffs section, you can pick and choose which buffs you want to be displayed as icons, and then pretty much any buff can also be tracked as a bar if you would prefer that visually. You'll probably have a lot of buffs that are not tracked by default, so again, you can really fine-tune things to suit your needs. And then you also have a very useful revert button down at the bottom, just in case you absolutely hate what you've done and you want to go back to the last time you saved your setup. With these changes in play, the Cooldown Manager is significantly better than when it was first released, and it's getting closer and closer to being an actual baseline replacement for some weak auras. We're also going to see the addition of a new feature called Recent Allies. This is going to be a new tab in your social menu alongside your friends. Players will appear in your Recent Allies tab after you have interacted with them through a variety of activities. That's what the patch notes say, but that's not particularly clear. I assume this is mainly for when you've been doing group content. So if you're in a dungeon, a raid, some delves, or maybe even when you're completing random group quests out in the world with players who are not already on your friends list, they'll probably pop up in this new Recent Allies menu. This should allow you to message players easier after the group has disbanded for whatever reason, and if you have a good time with some specific players, you should be able to add them to your friends list from this menu too. It's kinda hard to show this off properly on the PTR because, well, no one is on the PTR, so I guess we'll have to wait and see exactly how this works when patch day arrives. Now, if you'd rather random players not see your current in-game location for privacy reasons, you can turn this off in your settings. I guess this is something you'll be able to see in your recent allies, you'll be able to see exactly where they are in-game, but if you go into the social tab of settings, you should be able to find the location visibility option, and you just need to swap that to friends and guildmates, which will remove that option for recent allies. This will probably default to recent allies turned on, so keep that in mind for patch day. And then the last important change coming with patch 11.2.5 is a round of nerfs for the disc belt. Pretty much every belt power will have its effectiveness reduced by 20%, which will make the belt much weaker as we head into the next patch, so you should be able to replace it with a high item level piece of gear from Season 3. That should be even easier with the Turbo Boost event in play, which lets hero and myth track gear be upgraded even further. So most classes and specs will probably say farewell to the disc belt when patch 11.2.5 rolls around. But that's everything coming in patch 11.2.5, so that's it for this video. What are you most looking forward to in the new patch? The Turbo Boost event to help you gear up easier and faster in Season 3, or the Legion Remix event which will let you revisit Legion and collect up a whole mountain of rewards? And how do you feel about the amount of content coming through in 11.2.5? Did you expect more or less in this 0.5 patch? Leave all your thoughts in the comment section below. A big thank you to all of our supporters over on Patreon and to all of our members here on YouTube. You can see their names floating by on screen. If you're interested in supporting the channel, you can find links in the description or click the join button just below the video. If you enjoyed the video or found it useful in any way, make sure to subscribe and ring that notification bell so you're always kept up to date. Thanks for watching, folks, good luck and have fun, and as always I will see you next time.